It's showtime now. We're live.
Hello, Luca. How are you today?
I am doing very well. How are you, Mina?
I'm all good. Thank you for
It's
asking.
very good to see you. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for yet another
LinkedIn live session.
LinkedIn live session. This month is yet another new thing, a very interesting, small but mighty feature.
Yeah.
Right? So what's the focus for today, and what are we? Actually, let's start with what are we doing here?
Mhm.
Who are we?
We are Vinton by Native Video.
We definitely are.
And we are here so we can talk to you guys more about what we do, why we do it, the motivation behind it. If there are any questions that you guys would have, so this is more of an informal session where we go through different features that we have, because we realize that we don't usually get that time. So this is the perfect platform for us to share it with you guys and get feedback from you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We tend to communicate a lot about the ecosystem. We're very interested in everything that is happening in the Salesforce ecosystem. AI is a big topic for us. And this session in particular, once a month, is dedicated to introspectively look at ourselves, tell a bit more about our system. Our solution is a conversation intelligence solution native to Salesforce, which means that all conversations, all video calls, phone calls, in-person conversation, and even voice notes can be recorded, transcribed, and summarized directly in Salesforce in the context of the records, the objects, the processes that are already in Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do. That's what we are. As part of that, there's a lot of things that we do from a technology perspective that are really super cool. And Mina knows one thing or two about
it. A little
bit. So why don't we go right into, so what's the topic for today while I set up the...
So the topic for the day is prompts and how we offer different solutions on how you can prompt the output that you would get from a call or a meeting or an audio note, right, or a voice note. So
because the AI needs instructions,
right? So we in our system have designed various have given users flexibility on how they want to design the instructions. Of course, there's out of the box instructions that come with the solution, but then there's an added layer of you being able to, as a user, being able to define how the output should look like in different scenarios.
Correct. And we're actually already right into the interface. This is one of the key elements of and components of our solution, which is what we call the Vinton library. And you can see this is a user's library. So all my activity gets added into this library. Obviously, this is a demo. Actually, this is a dev environment even, right? So we're going really behind the scenes here. And the reason why we're going behind the scenes is because the first feature that we're going to show is in the admin panel. It's hidden behind. Inside Vinton, we go to AI prompts, and here it is. So if you have Vinton, you will not see this one yet, because this is something that we are, for which we're finalizing the testing and then ready to deploy. So what is a system prompt? And why am I so excited about it?
So system prompt is basically a prompt that would go before any input that you give to AI. So for example, you have a company and you want to define behaviors and roles. Some things are generic and you don't want to define them over and over again in every
each individual instruction.
Yeah. So it could be the behaviors, it could be the structure of the output, the tone that you would want in your follow-up emails, for example. So there are a lot of things that can be defined on a system level.
And they apply to everything.
Exactly. And then
which
industry you're from.
Exactly. The example was just what you said, right? So the client asked about this, and we thought it was a good idea. And their specific industry is pharma. And there's a number of acronyms, a number of definitions, even a style of communicating and creating information when it goes into the CRM, for instance, that is very specific to that industry. And so framing or pre-framing the ecosystem within which that particular company is operating informs upfront everything that follows. All the other instructions already incorporate that.
Exactly.
And we've created an example here. Right?
Yes. So you can see that in our example, we have a branding rule defined. Maybe Luca would want to go.
Yes. So around, well, this is, a very basic example, but, one problem that System Prompt is solving for us is that we used to be called Native Video. The company actually that Vinton operates from and belongs to is still called Native Video Limited, based here in London in the UK. But around a year ago, we decided to go to the market with our product name, Vinton, and Vinton became the name of the company.
Yes. Right? And everybody used to call us by Vinton, and nobody knew Native Video. So that's why.
Exactly. So now, we are known as Vinton. But some of our emails are still, sent to Native Video. The calendar invites sometimes are, Native Video, sometimes they're Vinton because, with the domain. So anyway, this generates confusion, and sometimes, Vinton will say the meeting was attended by Luca from Native Video, and I don't really like that. I love it, right? So it's obviously still Native, but. So you get what I mean. So the instruction reads very simply, there's a branding rule that applies to everything that we do because you are an AI processing, engine for Vinton. So we give it an identity. And then through this, we say, always refer to the company as Vinton in outputs. If source material mentions Native Video, so, as I mentioned, the domain name of my meeting invite, replace it with Vinton, unless there is a specific reference to the underlying company or the underlying, what is it?
Platform.
That's a platform. Now, the operational framework as well, we added. So this is more like the industry indication, right? So you say, look, this is where this company operates. So you expect things to be relating typically to the Salesforce ecosystem, the enterprise SaaS ecosystem. Your role is to analyze, we give it a role, we understand. We tell it that it's a very much an expert on Salesforce objects, fields, pipeline. We make references to qualification and frameworks for sales, for other situations that Vinton finds. Then we define the scope.
Yeah. Again, these things, if you go back to the guidelines that you showed, you can see that these things are the things that you might not add in the individual prompt, because you'd be like, okay, when you're creating a prompt or when we're creating prompts with our customers, they would be like, okay, summary, I need summary to be bullet points. I need it to have a chronological order of what happened in the call. If there are questions, I need the questions to be generated. So whenever we're defining a prompt for a particular template, for example, we just focus on the call and what output we need from the call. But in all of those prompts, we don't add the guidelines that you would want to add for your organization.
Because they're already here.
Right? So now what would happen is that every prompt input that would go to our system, it would have a system prompt appended before it. And then the insights would be generated taking that into consideration. This would not be a part of output, but the output, when it's being computed, it would take in consideration of all the rules that you have.
Yeah.
This could be acronyms that maybe you use in your organization. I know that a lot of sales organizations have their own acronyms that they define within, that's organization specific. So you can just say, okay, if a user uses this, then it means that.
Which is a very, very interesting approach. It's not new. We haven't invented it, right? So it exists as a, and it's imagine it as an umbrella prompt, right? So something that always is set as a framework upfront for any specific instruction. And I think this is a good example. If you're following this and you're familiar with Vinton, then you'll know what we're going to talk about next, which is templates. And you will see how this actually precedes, and it's a prefix that is added before then, the templates process commences, and then ultimately it informs the rest of the outputs that are generated through Vinton.
Correct.
I love it. I'm really in love with it because I think, especially for some of our clients that are operating in very niche sub industries, this will be very relevant. It will inform a lot, upfront, a lot of the things that otherwise they would need to specify to a level of detail that they don't want to do at every single step of creating prompts.
Correct. So we're an AI prompt. So I'll just go over how we've designed the AI prompts. So the first tab you can see is default prompts, which means that
Ooh, this one.
yes.
Ooh, okay, well, we're doing it.
So you can see that we have different types of calls. We have voice notes, video calls, in-person meeting, phone calls, and Skype. So you can define the prompts for each of them. You can define, for example, in video call, you can define how the output would look like in a summary, how the follow-up would be structured, next steps, highlights, coaching, everything. You have full customization over how you would want it to appear after the call is processed. First, we have default prompts. So the way it works is if you're a small organization, you probably don't need a lot of templates. So you can use just default prompts. But if you are a medium-sized organization, then you would have different departments, for example. And in different departments, you have different type of calls. Then how would you structure those calls? To solve that problem, we created templates, which means that you can define the context of the call. So first, the system would check the...
Should we go into one?
Yeah,
Which one is your favorite?
I think we should go to the first one.
The first one? So this is an example that is very similar to a qualification call, right? So the first client call. And you were saying, I think this is a very interesting sequential kind of a set of events that happens, right? So the first will be now the system prompt. So the system prompt is the first information that is given to the AI and says, look, this is the framework of reference. And then it goes into this new step, which is different from the default prompt, because this, what does it do?
So this is a template that you define. Now, if you have 10 different types of calls in your sales processes. So first you would have an introduction call, then you would have a demo call, and then afterwards you'd have a call in a later stage where in each of these calls you would want different output for yourself from the call. The summary would be valuable to you if you have certain type of output. I know that you use MEDDIC and BANT for the initial call and then MEDDIC for the later stages in a sales call. But if you want the output to be framed on those frameworks, then we would need to have a template that apply this, for instance.
Yeah, because the instructions are different.
Exactly.
Based on, well, this is an early stage, a client-facing meeting between two organizations exploring potential partnership or collaboration. So obviously this is a generic context. Mina creates very, and our clients in collaboration with Mina typically create very specific context where they define exactly what Mina was saying, right? So this is, if the context is a sales, early stage conversation, client facing, such and such, then these are your specific instructions. So if we come to the video call prompts and we go to the summaries, you can see that there is a draft, and it's a draft because this is not ticked.
Yes.
If you're familiar with Vinton, you know this already. And this is a very specific set of instruction that is different from the default, which is a bit more generic, which applies but if the context is matched, then this will be the structure. And you can see it's very specific to the introduction. I think we are calling it introductory call. And again, you probably can think immediately of how this would apply to your own organization and how you've defined those frameworks of reference, right? So for a discovery call, what do you ask? What is important that gets captured and added into the CRM? From a coaching perspective, equally, what is important to refer to in terms of, was this a good call? Was this a bad call? In relation to an introductory call.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it can be customized to the level of detail that you would want it customized to. We have, with our customers, we have created prompts that create reports after a call because the nature of their conversation would be as such that after the call, for example, if I have a call with you, we would talk about a report that we have to create. And after that call, I would need to create that report. So we've also created prompts to the level of detail, which would have everything that I would need in the report. It's just the structure. If we know that this is the structure of the call that would happen, then we can define a context for it, and then we can have a certain output from that particular call.
That's absolutely fine. And so this actually is and can be design specific for the different types of recordings that are typically captured via Vinton, right? So the audio note prompt is the classic voice note as I'm walking out of a meeting, and I'm like, I have everything fresh in my head. I just and I'm making the gesture as if I'm doing it on mobile, but obviously it's also and maybe we should show an example of a voice note. But then video call is the classic, Teams meeting, Zoom meeting, or Zoom, of course. Zoom, Meet, and Teams.
Zoom and me.
or even a huddle in Slack.
Yeah.
People talking, what is the context of the conversation? What are the specific instructions? So if we go back to, where is it, cancel? So if we go back here, you will see that, we have different context. Again, we have organizations that have very long list.
Yeah.
They have, 3-4 different contexts, and therefore specific instructions for sales, customer success,
Correct.
internal calls, you were saying, right? So we could actually meet as colleagues and strategize about a product or strategize about a client. And that, would require a different approach from a summarization perspective, from next steps, and, the level of detail, the format, all of that can be prompted effectively.
I mean, an internal meeting that I have with the team would have a different follow-up email, and a meeting that I have with you would have a different follow-up email, because then you would be looking for just bullet points, because obviously you don't have the time to go through the details. But if I have the meeting with development team, they would need details about what needs to be implemented, how it needs to be done. So again, you can you can create different prompts based on the situations that you have in a particular meeting.
So then those frameworks of reference, those instructions, the templates, are then applied. And we can see an example here. Let me zoom in. Client introduction call, right? So this was identified by Vinton as matching the context that was at the start of the instruction. So the instructions applied reflect the specific instructions that are in this. Now, these are the templates. We also have the ability, obviously, to force a new language, and you can see how they appear in front of the user. Again, the user typically will not have to worry about this, because Vinton will understand the instruction and apply the correct framework, the correct template. But in case, we can always look at the same conversation through a different lens or different set of lens. For instance, that will be how this applies. This is very relevant for our clients, because, as you were saying, out of this, they produced a very specific set of information that they want to capture across the entirety of their records and their objects in their Salesforce. Now, I think this is clear. I want to come back here because I really like the way these work. Vinton, AI prompts, and templates. Now, do we have questions about templates? Do we have questions about my new favorite, the system prompt? Which, system prompt, I'm very excited about it, just because it's, I feel it's such a simple approach, but I think one that can make a true difference. And as I said, especially for those clients that already here and they're already using it, they really feel like it's making a difference across the board, the type of information. And the other when I presented this the other day, a comment that I got was, oh, but you're actually giving us access to the true backbone of your system. And my reply was, well, it's not our system, it's your system.
Exactly.
Right? It's your Salesforce, it's your data. You should be able to extract from your transcript, your conversations, your voice notes, exactly the information in the format and the length and the framework of reference that is relevant for you. And I think this is probably the surprise there, was because other systems don't allow that. They're not as open and as flexible.
But I think for us, because we operate in different industries and different type of industries use us, there's no one formula that we can use that would fit everyone. We work with a lot of our clients and customers to make sure that we generate prompts that they need. So if you are thinking of onboarding with us, we give full support on generating and drafting the prompts. So we work together with all of our customers to make sure we draft the prompts that generate the output that they need in their CRM. So we don't leave people alone.
No, exactly. And it becomes actually a very interesting exercise that we see with our clients, because they truly warm up to the idea of, okay, start with the default. This is interesting. It's probably 80% where I need to be.
Exactly.
Sometimes 70, sometimes 90, right? And then they say, but if we tweak this, or if we make this a bit longer, we go a bit more in detail in this area, and we define a completely different approach for this other way. And that is an iterative process that, kind of, as time goes by, they internalize, and then, autonomously. So we just check in every once in a while. Right? Hey, how are you guys doing? Did you create a new template lately, or how are templates going?
And I think the recent past few months or past 6 months is where the templates have gained a lot of traction, where everybody is going that, yes, we need customized templates. We need to customize it to the level of detail that we need in our CRM. We didn't see this before. So this was not something that happened before. Like if you go 6 months ago back, customers didn't come back to us and ask for specific formats in summary or specific formats in follow-up email. But recently, this has been a very important requirement for all of our customers. And that's why we worked in this direction as well. Last time we talked about the follow-up email and how you can regenerate it. And this time we've worked on system prompts. So because if our customers are using something, we want to make sure that it is to the level of the standard that they would want it to have. And we've tested it internally, and it's really helpful.
It is. The system prompt is already making. What is interesting, your observation, I think, is determined by the fact that more and more, individuals like us are becoming familiar and not scared about the prompts. When they interact with their GPT, they understand that their approach needs to be contextualized, that their approach needs to be, and that's they see the quality of the output improving.
Correct.
And then the other side is that we've seen more and more of our clients investing in bringing on board AI expertise, and I mean this is ground level for a lot of them, right? So you have a lot of data that come all into your Salesforce from all the conversations across the organization. What do you do with that? How do you capture? How do you make the most of it? And how do you save and surface the right information at the right time that is relevant for the business? And
exactly,
that's customized.
Yeah. So to get to that, so the AI engineers who would come in and need that information, the first thing they would need is the data to be classified the way they want to classify. So that's the first step of how we get to that point, because now we're seeing our clients building AI pipelines and how they can use these call data to get transcript, to get insights beyond just one call, to get insights beyond just what happened in one conversation. So that's also something that that everybody is going in the direction of. And I think internally we decided that we need to make sure that the input should be perfect, and that's how the output would be perfect as well.
Exactly.
So that's just a step towards that. And this would...
And I think that's it. So we don't have any questions. So we answer all your questions. Well, if you have more questions, maybe leave them in the comment. If you're not watching live, there will be comments still, and we'll monitor that for the next few weeks. This was super interesting. I'm really excited about the adoption of the prompts and our system evolving to supporting more ways of customizing and personalizing the solution that we provide to our clients. So well done, Mina, well done team here at Vinton, and that's goodbye.
I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, or for watching this if you're watching it after.
Thank you. And it's 25 minutes. So yeah, 24. Well, you've done well. If you're still watching, thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in a month, right?
In a month, yeah.
And
that's hopefully
that's gonna be another one. Don't miss the next one. I mean, this was interesting. And there's something new. It's small, but it's mighty, as we mentioned at the beginning. Wait until you see what. Yeah, don't want to. No, I just no spoiler. We'll see you in a month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.